Hey everybody, this is Phyllis Y. Whitley. If you have been spiritually victimized and traumatized, welcome to Spiritology Live. Yes, where I bring my #1 Amazon bestseller book to life. Each episode will be a raw, spiritual, metaphysical, holistic space of consciousness for self-healing as you learn how to break your religious shackles so you can master and manifest your promised land within today. Let's go. Hey everybody, happy 2023. If you listen to my other podcasts, first I want to thank everybody that had spent this year with me. To date is a year. And we have went over so many topics. I actually reached my 51st topic. And this is going to be, I believe, don't quote me on it, it's going to be in the 50s. With that being said, I wanted to not only thank you, but I wanted to take the time so everybody can catch up and breathe and just throw some questions out there and tell you some of the testimonies that I have gotten. This stuff works. Okay? So people, they are looking for a quick fix. A lot of people went to churches that implanted the religious seeds that I talked about in my book. And they don't know how to move forward, or they don't believe that you should have a promised land, at least a promised land that has good and plenty, that's filled with milk and honey, which God spoke about in Deuteronomy, the curses and the blessings. Well, Miss P, that's not for us. Oh, yes, it's for you. Because if you listen to the curses that he has there, you probably, I'm pretty sure majority of each and every one of y'all could say, wow, that sounds like my uncle. That sounds like my aunt. Wow, that sounds like my whole family. So if the cursing match, look at the blessings. God give you much. In this episode, we're going to cover everything. We're going to have a breather. We're going to tell you, the testimonies. And I'm going to start with, first of all, those who have literally been following me up until this time, and especially those who have literally indulged in my podcast. I get testimonies and it makes me feel so good. Testimonies of what, Miss P? Testimonies of how they have prospered, how they have literally seen things change from 0 to 100. And I'm not talking about dollar bills. I'm just talking about being in a situation that's almost impossible. How they have seen their obstacles turn into opportunities. Now, yes, we talked about you need someone in your ear. You need a mentor, a counselor. I consult people. I mentor people. Do you understand? You need somebody in your ear. You do not need or should rely on just going to church on Saturdays, whatever your denomination is, or just Sunday. And you walk in there and you say, oh, let me hear what he have to say. And your pastor may be really, really good. But he or she normally, how should I say it? Let me make it plain. They give you this information because they did their research, or hopefully God went through them, gave them what to research, and they've given it to their congregation with hopes that you are going to take that and you are going to allow those seeds to be dropped right then and there, and even go home and continue those chapters that they gave you. So more seeds can drop inside you. It's an invisible process. It's a spiritual thing. Why, Miss P? Why is it invisible? Why is it spiritual? Because God is a spirit and you only can literally communicate with him by your spirit. So to put light on everything that we went through and talked about was, number one, I can't go over all my podcasts, but we talked about time travel. We talked about being ready. We talked about how people just allow the two thieves that was on the cross coming to their best friends, family, boss, and they either trying to rob you from your past or rob you from your future. Let's sum that up. If you are stuck in your past, you're being robbed. If you live in a dream that's made up with just wishing upon a star, I wonder where you are. The thief is taking your future. Is that where you at? Now let's go to, I went to the next podcast and it was made up on what is the name of your life play. And I was trying to explain, or I tried to explain, what happens when people come to you and they literally got all the answers and you take it so serious and you believe them. You listen to Sally Sue down the street who say, girl, I will never, I took the real estate test and I failed, and my boyfriend took it and he failed, and girl, I will not, it's no good. So she sowed the seed. So when you go to sign up for that class, you go and you meet somebody else on your way, either physically there or you talk, it could be the secretary. And they say to you, well, this is hard. I've seen a lot of people just, leave, just give up. Out of 30 people, I've seen 3. But anyway, we thank you for joining and enrolling in this class. Do you see how he or she dropped another seed? Then you get home and you start looking at the price. And then you say, no, I can't do this. That's why I talked about the name of your play. You understand that these can be close-knit people as well as strangers. Now, you didn't know the person that's supposed to enroll you. They can be just looking at you and judging you and saying, another dropout. They do that in school. They do that in college. You have to look good on the paper. But when you get there, what is the professor telling you? Everybody been judged by their teachers, and I have nothing against teachers. I'm just naming some of them who literally had the seed of judgment. What am I trying to get to? The last one I did, where is your life play? Dream killers. I target people specifically, and I broke it down from off Broadway or being in Hollywood or being on a corner store, or if the person who spoke bad in your ears, your ear gate years ago, and you still walking around with the seed have grown, look and see if that person bones are in the graveyard. I said bones because they're not there. Fossils. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm trying to tell you that some of y'all will hold on to somebody who died. Aunt B died. But you remember when she looked at you and said, you are an ugly child. You'll be nobody. You'll never be nobody. Really? And you still walking around avoiding going to get your license and insurance or whatever you want to get your license, even your driver's license. You are avoiding doing it because of one person sowed the seed. What am I trying to say to you? If you don't get anything out of this, this is the middle part. This is the part where we are going to stop right here. And you're going to either turn off this podcast and go back and listen to every one that I had created, and then come back for the next one because you're ready. Don't come half-stepping or nothing had manifested in your life and say it ain't working. Or maybe you just don't believe it. Like I said earlier, let's go ahead and look. Because I'm going to say to you right now what God says. Because if you don't listen to me, you'll listen to God. 3 John 1:2. Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prosper. Yes, God said prosper. God said prosper. And those of you who have been through training with me, boot camp, if you haven't done so, you need to come and get into it. Go on my website and look it up. I'm telling you, I will teach you from the prophetic eyes about what the Bible really is saying. First of all of those, majority of those who walked with God prospered. So when you walk around and say, well, I understand what she's saying, but she's talking about prosperity and she's talking about promised land. And I mean, we know pastors and preachers who do that. I mean, we have a name for them. And first of all, don't put me in that category, because I really truly believe that my Father God want all of us to prosper. If you don't believe that, go to your mother and your father and say, I have no clothes to wear to school and I have no food to eat. And if they have any love in their body, they are going to cry or they're going to be in pain. Some of you who have grown up poor or still poor, do you see where it hurts them that they can't bring everything to the table, or they don't have a job to bring anything to the table? It hurts you that if you can get to school, you wearing your brother's hand-me-down, your siblings' hand-me-down, and when lunch comes, you can barely eat. Well, Miss P, they give free lunch. Yeah, they give free lunch, but that's just like, we're not going to tell you what that yes. When you're hungry, they can make a sloppy Joe taste like a steak. But some of y'all are so poor that that's your last meal. And when you go home, you don't have anything to eat. Do you feel good? Do you feel good when you turn around and your clothes got holes in it, or your shoes it's just like bent over? You know how you walking sideways because your shoes is tearing up? How did that make you feel? How do it make you feel that when the holidays come, you can't do nothing, you and your family? How do it make you feel every time you see the repo or the tow truck, you start shaking and you think, oh my God, I hope they ain't coming to me? How do it feel that you don't even know how you're going to pay your next rent? It don't feel good. And it don't feel good because you are miserable. So why am I saying this? For you to go back, study my tape, show yourself approved. And God said that if you know your word, show yourself approved, because I'm going to tell you a secret here. You cannot have a relationship with God and God don't bless you, because you know your parents that love you, whether they're here today or maybe if they have passed on, if they had enough to give you, they would, because it's love. That is the same thing with God. So when you are walking around feeling like I can't move forward because that's not of God, who do you think God is? God owns everything. The mountains, the sky, the stars, the moon, everything. And some of y'all behoove me to sit back and say, I think money is going to mess up my relationship with the Lord. Money going to mess up your relationship with the Lord. Listen, the money ain't for God. The money is just his way of saying, let me reward you. And then you can turn around and you can bless yourself, and then you can bless others. It is reason that you have to prosper. You can't sit there the rest of your life and say, I want to do something. I want to help this person. All they going through, you looking at the news. I want to do this. You can't do nothing with money. You can't go to a restaurant without money. You can't live without money. Well, I got God. That's all I need. Let me tell you something. Do you really have God? Because like I said before, when you have a relationship, like a relationship with your parents, They desire to see you do better. They desire to go ahead and work the hours that they're working to make sure that you make it to school or make it to college or be somewhere. This is the same way with God. Oh, well, Miss P, I mean, God can do anything he wants. Yeah, but he didn't make you a robot. You have free will to choose him because you can choose all the little other gods that everybody is worshiping. Or you can choose him. And I tell you from someone who have a relationship with God, it is not always roses in your promised land because God will have you to graduate. God is not going to sit back and say, here, you don't never, ever have to move. God said, multiply. God wants you to move forward. I hope this helped you. So when you can continue to listen to my podcasts in the future, you can understand why I am talking about living in your promised land. Go to Deuteronomy and see what he said. God is not going to bless you with all those things. He's not going to bless you to sit back and have your enemies scattered because he know that they are being sent when you get curses to spoil your goods. God desire you to have because at the end of the day, like I said, it's not for you, it's for your legacy, your next generation, those causes who you desire to help. You can't do nothing if you have a penny rubbing a dime. Make a difference. Your promised land is not for you to sit there and idle. Your promised land is not for you to show off and say, look what I got. My promised land is bigger than yours. Your promised land is to not only show the people who can see, because some people just don't care, that the God that you worship is a given God. And to also show the people, come to God. His yoke is easy and his burden is light. You see, you will have burden because as long as you're in the world, things shall happen. But my podcast is for you to go ahead and know that you have a promised land. Go ahead and get your promised land. And then you don't just sit there and get stuck. You don't eat all the food. You give the top part to God, 10%, and then he will bless the 90%. That's why some of you, I never will pay tithes. I ain't giving my money to the church. We give it to a good cause. And your money is already jacked up from the floor up. 100% of your money go here, 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 here. It doesn't matter because if God don't get his 10%, guess what? It's going to come out through your body. Next week, you're going to have to go to the examination room because you having all kind of symptoms and you don't know why. Or you go to the job and they tell you, I'm sorry, we got to lay you off. We're going to demote you. You're like, what the blank is going on? Then somebody turn around and you go and you get you a car and somebody hits you. When you give everything to God, when you go give that 10%, when you give him your time, you will be surprised that you are blessed. He will put a head of protection around you that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You think I'm playing? Oh yeah, I have the testimonies of people connecting to the right people for the right jobs, for the right promotion. I have the testimonies. That makes me feel good because people are prospering. People who hang around me and allow me to give them wisdom, they are living their dream. Remember, their dream is not like your dream. One person may need to live in the mountains. That's their dream. Another person said, I just want to live near water. Another person wants 6 rooms. Another person said, no, I want to keep it tight. I want it to be cozy so we can sit at the same table. So you're not running after the Jones here. I wanted you to say, and to yourself, I am worthy of God blessings only because I am a child of God. And why should you say it? And we're going to discuss that in the next couple podcasts that I'm getting ready to do. Go forth, give him that 10%, and then have that productive relationship with him. How do you have that relationship? What do you do when you first meet somebody and you go into a relationship? You call them, you contact them. Keep that line of contact open. Not when you get an emergency. I guarantee you, if you keep that conversation and that communication open between you and God, make time through different sources. That's all in my podcast. I guarantee you that if an emergency comes, you would jump right over it. Well, that was not supposed to be that long. I don't do long podcasts, but I thank you. Oh God, thank God for those who can do it. With that being said, what is new? Everything, and you'll see it popping up. I am busy, but I make time for self-care, and then I make time for my relationship with God. Just remember, if you don't have a relationship with somebody, they might not contact you anymore. If you don't have a relationship with your spouse, if you stop communicating, stop talking to them, whatever, you might not see them anymore. That's just with God. You get what I'm saying? When the emergency comes, God's going to say, who is that? You want emergency to come when God say, who is that? Oh, that's my daughter. Oh, Angel, go over there and help her. Do you understand what I'm saying? Everything is new. And I won't tell you, but it will be seen. It will be manifested in my next podcast. Now go back and listen to all my other podcasts. Get yourself together. Send me the testimonies. And join and be a part of my group. I have no problem mentoring you. I have no problem being your counselor, being your coach. Thank you. And I'm out.